You think they've forgotten about you. You think when you left, when you walked away, when you stopped showing up, they just moved on, kept living their lives without a second thought about where you went or who you've become. But that's not what's happening. Not even close. Because right now, in spaces you'll never occupy, in conversations you'll never hear, in moments when they think nobody's watching, they're talking about you, obsessing, actually. And what they're saying, what they're really thinking when the doors close and the pretense drops, it's gonna shift something in you. Something you didn't even know needed shifting. See, while you've been out here building a new life, wondering if anyone noticed your absence, questioning if your transformation meant anything to anyone but you, they've been gathered in their safe spaces having an entirely different conversation. A conversation that has nothing to do with what they show you, nothing to do with the polite distance they maintain. It's something raw, something honest, something they'd never admit to your face. So let's answer the question that's been living in your chest like a weight you can't shake. What are they actually saying about me when I'm gone, when the performance ends, when the audience leaves and only the truth remains? You've imagined it wrong 1,000 times, pictured them celebrating your departure, relieved you're finally out of their lives, laughing about who you used to be. But here's the beautiful, twisted reality. That's not the conversation happening at all. You've been so convinced you're the punchline that you never considered you might be the mystery, the enigma that keeps them up at night, the presence that still fills rooms even when you're not in them, the name that changes the temperature of every conversation it enters. Here's what actually happens. Someone mentions you. Could be the bold one, the honest one, the one who can't keep thoughts contained anymore. They say something like, "You ever think about what happened with them?" And everything stops. Not the stop of judgment or mockery. No, the stop of collective recognition. That specific silence that falls when everyone's been thinking the exact same thing, but nobody wanted to be first to voice it. Because they're all feeling it. That uncomfortable awareness pressing against their consciousness. The understanding that you've shifted into something they can't categorize anymore. That you're existing on a plane they can't access. They start carefully, testing boundaries, dropping safe observations like they're completely different now. Have you seen them lately? There's something I can't put my finger on. These are the rehearsed versions. The acceptable thoughts, the ones designed to measure if everyone else senses it too. And when they realize they do, when they see their own confusion reflected back, that's when the real dialogue begins. That's when masks fall and truth starts bleeding through the careful words they've constructed. They lean closer, voices lower to that intimate whisper. And someone finally releases what everyone's holding. It's like they figured out something the rest of us are missing. That phrase, it haunts them, keeps them circling back, because it's accurate and they know it, but they can't articulate it. You've unlocked something, evolved past something, understood something that makes their entire framework feel suddenly inadequate. And this is where it gets revealing. Where their thoughts about you expose more about them than about you. They're not concerned you're broken or confused or making terrible choices. They're terrified you've solved something, discovered some truth, broken through some barrier they're still desperately avoiding. Your evolution isn't threatening because it's destructive. It's threatening because it's correct. And they're not prepared to face what that implies about their own lives. Listen to what comes next. They don't care what anyone thinks anymore. They say it with this complex mixture of admiration and bitterness, this strange blend of respect and fear, because that's precisely what they cannot do. That's the cage they wake up inside every single day. They spend their existence calculating, performing, contorting themselves to meet the constantly shifting demands of everyone around them. And then there's you, moving through the world like some kind of liberated soul, some kind of escaped prisoner, no longer governed by the regulations that still bind them. And watching you exist like that, watching you breathe without their validation, without their permission, without their acceptance, it fractures something fundamental in them. They'll try to diminish it naturally. They'll construct explanations like, must be nice to just stop caring. Guess it's easy when you've burned everything down. They've just quit trying, that's all. These are protective mechanisms, psychological armor they build to shield themselves from the dangerous possibility that you didn't quit, you woke up. Because if they acknowledge you're not escaping something but pursuing something, if they admit you didn't collapse but broke through, then they're forced to confront their own paralysis, their own fear, their own refusal to do what you've done, so they reinterpret your growth as recklessness, your freedom as isolation, your metamorphosis as catastrophe. But here's the thought they suppress, the one that has them scrolling through your history at 3 in the morning, studying your recent presence like evidence at a crime scene, asking shared connections questions that sound casual but absolutely aren't. They miss you. Not who you were exactly, but the version of you that made their cages feel less confining. When you were playing their game, when you were locked in their same performance, when you were equally concerned with perception and approval and belonging. You made their imprisonment feel normal. You were the companion who made captivity survivable. And now you've broken out and left them alone with their chains. They'll never state this plainly. They'll never say your freedom exposes my captivity. Your transformation reveals my stagnation. Your evolution highlights my standing still. Instead, they'll package it as worry, disguise it as concern, frame it as compassionate anxiety. Have you talked to them recently? Something seems off. I'm concerned about them. They're not who they used to be. Translation: I'm concerned they've found a version of themselves that doesn't require us. I'm concerned they've discovered something I'm too frightened to pursue. I'm concerned their transformation is making my stagnation visible. And that last one, they're not who they used to be. That's the most transparent confession of all, because what they're actually communicating is they're not who I needed them to be anymore. They've abandoned the role I gave them. They've broken character in the story I was writing. You were supposed to remain predictable, controllable, comprehensible. Instead, you transformed into this evolving, unknowable presence. You were supposed to struggle in recognizable ways, fail in familiar patterns, suffer in diagnosable methods. But you didn't follow their script. You destroyed it, rewrote it, created something unprecedented. And now they're sitting in circles discussing you like you're some phenomenon they need to decode because they cannot understand. There's this pivot point in these discussions, this shift where the energy transforms completely, where someone, usually the one who's known you longest or loved you deepest or feels most threatened by your change, says something that makes the whole room uncomfortable. Sometimes I think they can see straight through all of us, like they discovered something fundamental about reality that we're all still pretending doesn't exist. And that's when the room goes absolutely silent, when everyone examines their drinks or their screens or the walls, because that observation is too close to the truth they're collectively avoiding. You haven't just changed, you've transcended their comprehension. And that's what keeps them returning to your name long after you've exited their world. Now let's go deeper. Let's examine the specific thoughts they harbor about you that they wouldn't voice even in private, the ones existing in that space between conscious awareness and subconscious understanding. When they look at old photographs of you, especially from before whatever transformation occurred, they experience something they cannot name. It's not nostalgia exactly, more like grief blended with jealousy, mourning the version they could understand, envying the version you've become. They'll study those images, searching for the precise moment everything shifted, looking for missed signals, warnings they should have caught, trying to comprehend how someone travels from there to here. And when they find current evidence, recent proof of who you are now, they examine it like investigators, zooming into your eyes, searching for explanations. There's something in your expression they don't recognize, something behind your face that wasn't there before, and it disturbs them more than they'll acknowledge. It's not that you appear worse or better. It's that you appear unreachable, like you exist in a reality they no longer have coordinates for. Your smile doesn't seek permission anymore. Your eyes don't request validation. Your existence doesn't apologize for occupying space. You've become what terrifies them most, someone who exists completely on their own terms. Behind those closed doors, they'll dissect your words too, particularly the last genuine conversation before everything shifted. They'll replay it obsessively, analyzing sentences, hunting for hidden meanings, trying to decode if you were saying goodbye, if you were leaving breadcrumbs, if you were testing whether they'd understand. And truthfully, you probably were. You probably were revealing exactly who you were becoming, offering them opportunities to join your transformation, extending invitations to evolution. But they were too comfortable in familiar discomfort, too attached to known misery, too scared of unknown liberation to recognize what you were offering. They think about the moment you stopped explaining yourself, stopped defending your decisions, stopped attempting to make them understand. That moment exists in their memory like a scar, because it was when they lost access to you, when your door closed and their opinions became irrelevant. Before that, they could influence you, shape you, mold you with their judgments and expectations. Your need for approval gave them power. Your desire for acceptance gave them control. Your fear of rejection gave them leverage. But then something shifted. Some internal earthquake rearranged everything, and suddenly their opinions became white noise. Their judgments became meaningless. Their approval became unnecessary, and that terrifies them more than anything. The realization that they hold no power over you anymore, no ability to make you second-guess yourself, no capacity to drag you back into the collective anxiety they all share. They've lost their influence on you, and they can sense it. They know it, and behind closed doors they discuss it with this combination of respect and resentment. They respect that you escaped, but resent that you did it without them. Respect that you found yourself, but resent that you stopped seeking their approval first. Respect that you evolved, but resent that your evolution didn't wait for their blessing. Here's something they wonder but never articulate. Were you always this person and they just never recognized it? Or did you genuinely transform into someone new? This question torments them because either answer is uncomfortable. If you were always this powerful and they missed it, what does that reveal about their perception, their judgment, their ability to truly see people? And if you genuinely metamorphosed, if you actually evolved from someone they understood into someone they can't grasp, then what does that say about the permanence of identity, the possibility of change, the potential they're wasting by remaining static? They have debates about whether you're happier now, and these debates are fascinating because they expose what they believe happiness looks like. Some will insist you cannot be happy, that your transformation is actually concealed pain, that your freedom is actually loneliness wearing a mask, that your evolution is actually escape, These are the ones who need you to be suffering, who need your liberation to be secretly torturous. Because if you're actually thriving outside their world, outside their rules, outside their understanding, then everything they believe about safety and belonging and happiness is false. But there are others in these spaces, quieter ones usually, who observe these conversations with knowing eyes, who don't contribute much but comprehend everything. They see through the defensive stories. They recognize the projection. They understand that everyone insisting you must be miserable is really just convincing themselves that staying trapped is wise. These silent observers, they're the ones who think about you most, who check your presence when nobody's looking, who wonder what it would require for them to do what you did. They're the ones closest to following, closest to their own transformation, closest to shattering their own comfortable prisons, and the people who mention you constantly, who cannot seem to stop analyzing your choices, who always have some new theory about what you're actually doing. These are the people most haunted by your departure from their reality. They're not discussing you because you're interesting. They're discussing you because you're a reflection, and every time they face that reflection, they see everything they aren't, everything they could be, everything they're too terrified to become. You've become their favorite subject, not because you're in their lives, but because you're in their minds, living without rent in the space between who they are and who they wish they had the courage to become. There are specific moments when you surface in conversation, predictable triggers that bring your name forward. When someone in the circle is wrestling with a decision, trying to determine if they should take a leap, standing at their own crossroads, someone will inevitably say, "Remember when they just completely reinvented their entire existence? Remember how everyone said it was insane?" And everyone will nod. Everyone will remember. And everyone will think about how you're doing now. Question if you made the right choice. Try to use your outcome as proof for whatever decision they're wrestling with. When they're intoxicated, when barriers drop and honesty surfaces, that's when real truths emerge. That's when someone finally confesses what everyone's thinking. I think about them constantly. Someone will admit, wonder if they ever think about us, if they miss this, if they regret walking away. And here's what they cannot grasp, what they can't comprehend. You do think about them sometimes, not with regret though, with gratitude. Grateful they remained exactly where they were so you could see clearly what happens when you don't evolve. Grateful their judgment pushed you harder toward freedom. Grateful their misunderstanding clarified your understanding. Behind closed doors, they debate whether to contact you, whether to send that message they've written and deleted countless times, whether to bridge the distance that's expanded between you. They'll workshop the message collectively, testing different approaches, debating tone and phrasing, arguing about whether to be casual or honest, whether to pretend nothing changed or acknowledge everything did. And usually, thankfully, they'll convince each other not to send it. They'll decide to respect your space, maintain your distance, let you be whoever you've become. What they don't realize is that decision, that choice to not reach out, is exactly why you had to leave initially. They wonder who you're with now. What kind of people populate your current life? Whether you found others like you or if you're walking alone. This question occupies more space in their thoughts than they'd confess, because it's connected directly to their own fears about transformation. If you found your people, found others who understand the new you, who celebrate your evolution, who match your frequency, then your departure makes sense and they must accept they weren't your people anymore. But if you're alone, if you're isolated in your transformation, if your evolution came at the cost of all connection, then they can convince themselves staying trapped is wiser. Here's something they'll never acknowledge. Sometimes they try to become more like you. They'll adopt fragments of your transformation, sample elements of your philosophy, experiment with pieces of your freedom. They'll say something you would say, make a choice you would make, try on your certainty like borrowed clothes, but it never fits correctly, never feels genuine, because they're attempting to replicate the external symptoms of an internal revolution. They want your results without your process, your freedom without your sacrifice, your evolution without your earthquake. And when it fails, when their borrowed confidence feels empty, they'll return to discussing you in those closed rooms, trying to identify what they're missing. They construct narratives about what caused your transformation, origin stories that make sense to them, explanations that fit their worldview. Some think you had a crisis. Some think you met someone new. Some think you discovered some philosophy or practice or path that changed everything. And maybe there's truth scattered through all these theories. Maybe your transformation was born from multiple catalysts, multiple moments, multiple revelations. But what they never consider, what they can't quite grasp, is that maybe you just got exhausted. Exhausted from pretending, exhausted from performing, exhausted from existing in a world that demanded you be smaller than you are.